Hello and welcome to Manga 96, and today we're going to talk about is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon. Today's topic will be the place where most of the story takes place in. The place that every real adventurer dreams of conquering but no one has achieved it yet, with a certain white-haired boy being the most likely candidate if anybody is going to conquer it. I'm of course talking about the dungeon. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as I'll be spoiled of things in this video. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you're going to read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with what the dungeon even is. The dungeon is a complex labyrinth located under Babel, where Rio is the only place in the world that has a dungeon, and many people of different races gather from across the world to explore the dungeon. Before the gods and goddesses came down to the lower world, heroes fought against monsters with the help of spirits. Once the gods began to come to the lower world, the gods bestowed the fauna upon them and gave them a status to better fight monsters. Uranus was the first god to bestow a fallen upon a person. The dungeon is seemingly alive, spawning monsters from walls and ceilings and repairing itself on its own. It has an immense hatred of the gods, immediately sealing the exits of a room if it detects one and spawning a black version of a monster in order to kill them. The black monsters are far stronger than normal and display some intelligence as the black wyvern looking around for its target. Despite this, it doesn't spawn another black monster after the first one is killed, even if the god in question isn't dead, implying that its ability to act is limited to some extent. The dungeon is vast, with floors becoming progressively larger the deeper it gets. It takes at least 5 days for a party to reach the 50th floor. While the upper floors can be soloed or done with a pair, starting from the middle floors, one must create a party or risk death. The Xenons refer to the dungeon as their mother and believe it created the hidden village to protect them. Astrea commented that a part of the reason that the gods do not use the Arcana in the lower world is because if they did, the dungeon would break its promise before the promised time. In addition to that, she commented that if a god was fatally wounded within the dungeon, they will be absorbed by it instead of returning to heaven. Dionys said that currently the dungeon is at its limit. Also, the author mentioned that there is at least 70 floors. There is a region called Sandland, but it's unknown in which floor it's located. As for the different floors in the dungeon, the entrance to the dungeon is located on the first underground floor of Babel. In the center of the room is a 10-meter long hall that leads straight into the dungeon. Within the circular room are multiple columns at equal intervals, and above is a beautiful azure painting of the sky that resembles the real sky. Along the circle are gentle stairs that spiral down into the dungeon. The upper floors consist of the 1st till 12th floor. Those floors are perfectly suitable for adventurers who have just started their exploration. Level 1 adventurers are recommended to explore there. The walls are light blue colored and the monsters that appear are goblins or kobolds. There is also a wide hallway on the first floor known as the beginning round. Newbie level adventurers with status of E to H in the basic abilities normally spend time on those floors. As you go deeper, the walls change to a light green color and the structure of the dungeon begins to change. Stronger monsters such as war shadows and killer ants appear and the monster birth time is faster, which is why those floors are where all the newbie adventurers start to die. It's recommended for a level 1 adventurer to have a status of at least G in their basic abilities to explore those floors. The amount and size of room increases and the length of the hallways between them became shorter. Also, the ceiling changes height from 3 to 4 meters from the floors above to nearly 10 meters above. Moss covers the brown colored walls and the ground below became a short grass plain. The strong light from the photosynthesis above the similar light from the sun. No new monsters appear, however, monsters from the 1st till 7th floors appear again, but stronger. It's recommended for level 1 adventurers to have status of at least E in their basic abilities to explore those floors. The 10th till 12th floor keeps the same structures as the 8th and 9th floors, however, the light from above became reminiscent of morning mist. The mist on the 12th floor became much thicker than the one on the 10th and 11th floors. Large category monsters such as orcs and infant dragons begin to appear on those floors. Those floors are also where monsters use landforms such as trees as weapons are seen for the first time. The 11th and 12th floors are extremely dangerous for level 1 adventurers because stronger monsters like silverbags and hard armors appear here. Infant dragons that are categorized as level 2 and considered as floor bosses of the area also appear too rarely. It's recommended for level 1 adventurers to have status of at least B in their basic abilities to explore those floors. Parties that explore those floors are normally the ones preparing to venture into the middle floors for the first time. The 13th till 17th floors are known as the Cave Labyrinth. The entrance to the 13th floor is called the first line. Starting from the 13th floor, the walls, ground and ceiling became made of bedrock. While the upper floors are just flat circular maze, the middle floors have more complex layout, which include intervening upper and lower tunnels. The light became darker and the air seems to be moist. Vertical holes leading to the deeper floors appear randomly. On the 17th floor, a huge wall appears in the big room located called the Big Wall of Grief, which spawns the monster Rex Goliath. The layout is more complex and monsters spawn at a faster rate in the middle floors than in upper floors, so it is very difficult for level 2 adventurers to solo those floors. The monsters on the 13th and 14th floor are not much different than the ones on the 12th floor in terms of strength, and so even level 2 adventurers with status of I to H in the most of their basic abilities are capable of exploring these floors. On the 15th till 17th floors, monsters categorized as level 2 individual such as Minotaurs start to appear, and it's recommended for level 2 adventurers to have at least G in their basic abilities to pass through those floors and arrive on the 80th floor safely. The 18th floor is a safety point where no monsters are born, though some monsters can come up from the floor below. It is also called the Under Resort. The floor is filled with crystal in nature, large forests and lakes cover the floor. Within the forest are blue crystals of different sizes that reflect the light from above, causing the forest to be filled with a pale blue glow. The exceptionally high ceiling is filled with brilliant shining crystals of two colors, the white crystals in the center that resemble the sun and the blue crystals surrounding it that resemble the sky. The amount of light from the crystal depends on the time of the cycles through the day. On the eastern side of the island facing the lake stands the city of Rivera. It is located 200 meters above the lake on a cliff. Level 2 adventurers would need to be extremely capable to reach this floor solo. The 19th floor through 24th floor are known as the large free labyrinth. The walls, ground and ceiling are made out of the wood, making it seem like it's inside a giant tree. Instead of photosynthetic light, radiant moss grows across the floor and gives off a blue light. Those floors contain a large amount of unexplored areas and a large variety of insect-type monsters. The plant diversity on those floors often provides ingredients used to make healing items, which result in many resources gathering quests being issued for this area. The 24th floor is at least half the size of Horario, and there are rare trees that produce valuable gems which are guarded by the green dragons, the strongest monsters on the floor. The large tree labyrinth is filled with monsters with base potential exceeding Minotaur and others that inflict poison. Even with a large party, it is difficult to explore the region with only level 2 adventurers. It is also very difficult for level 3 adventurers to solo the region. Adventurers are recommended to have above average level 2 states and abnormal resistance developed ability to explore the region. The standard for the 24th floor is level 2 with basic abilities of at least C. The entrance to the 25th floor is known as the second line. The 25th through 27th floors are known as the Water City. The 25th floor marks the beginning of the Great Fall, a huge waterfall estimated to be 400 meters wide and twice that in length, which lasts until the 27th floor. The 25th floor was also described as being a paradise of water. In order to move on to the next floor, adventurers must navigate through a series of passageways varying in elevation around the waterfall to reach the passageway at the bottom of the current floor. The bottom of the waterfall basin on the 27th floor leads to the Melon Lock Lake, though it is unknown where the water goes down due to the exit being sealed using the Leviathan's remains. The monster's wreck Apopison is located here. You can freely move between the floors and the labyrinth area. The standard for adventurers exploring the Water City is level 3, since the region is filled with monsters that level 2 adventurers could barely handle and the terrain is more difficult than in the floors above. Even level 4 adventurers like Aisha would have difficulties to solo this region. Having Undine cloth is recommended when exploring this region which has so much water. The 28th floor is a safety point. The The 29 till 36 floors consist of two regions. There are dungeon crops such as fruits that can be eaten. Starting from the 30th floor, the floors are swarmed with monsters that are impossible for level 2 adventurers to kill. A level 4 like Hashana required a powerful magic sword to reach the 30th floor alone. The 37th floor is known as the White Palace, as the walls, ground and ceilings are colored with white, the floor being a giant labyrinth. The floor is on a different scale than the floors above it, as the space between hallways, rooms and the wall is huge. The entrance to the 38th floor is located at the center of the floor, which is where the monster Rex on this is located, and around it are 5 huge circular walls that adventurers have to navigate through to reach the center. Bell likens the 37th floor to a cake in a box, and it's said that the floor is large enough to contain Orario. The walls are numbered 1 to 5, starting from the innermost wall, and the area between two walls is referred to as different rooms. The odious area inside the first wall is the throne room, and from there the knight's room, warrior's room, the soldier's room and the beast's room. The area between the walls getting smaller the closer the throne room and the labyrinth became more complicated. In the eastern area of the warrior's room there is a place known as the Colosseum. It is the largest room on the floor in which monsters constantly fight each other. The room spawns monsters non-stop until a certain amount is reached, which is quickly replenished each time it decreases, being an unlimited supply of monsters. It is surrounded by an abyss 50 meters deep with 4 gates located to the north, south, east and west, each with a bridge that allows access to the Colosseum. The first safety point in the deep floors is a small section on the 37th floor. It has a passage under the Colosseum and has a spring of water. Following the stream of water leads to a white ore with a stairway behind it. The top of the stairway has another white ore which opens up to a dead end located near the 4th wall. The 39th floor is a safety point. The 44th floor looks like an area inside a volcano. The walls, ground and ceiling are colored burning red, and distorted rocks lie on the ground across the floor. Along the walls are cracks that are colored black, which makes it seem like carbonized. Red light shines slightly from inside the cracks, giving off an eerie presence. The 49th floor is known as Moyotaro and is a huge room. No grass, no trees grow on those desolated ground. The rocks and the sand are all reddish-brown color. It also contains the monster Rex Balor. The 50th floor is another safety point where no monsters are born. However, just like the 18th floor, monsters can come to the floor from above or below. Grey-colored trees cover the floor up until the end of the floor. Vein-like rivers run endlessly through the trees. The 51st through 57th floors are a labyrinth, which is rare on the deeper floors. The walls, ground and ceiling are flat, and the structure makes it seem it was carefully measured. Many corners and crossroads exist across the floors. The 58th floor is one vast room. The walls, ground and ceiling are made of graphite and resemble a huge rectangular room. It contains a large number of Algan dragons. The floors are also called the Dragonways, as starting from the 52nd floor, the Volgan dragons on the 58th floor lock onto adventure positions and fire flares through multiple floors. According to the Zeus Familia, the 59th floor and onwards are known as the glacial territory, with the glacial lake streams, fierce cold and ice covering the area. However, the terrain was modified when the new monsters took over, making it to the jungle-like area. Past the jungle area was a large area that was covered with the ashes of countless dead monsters, making the whole area a grey color. However, the jungle was destroyed during the Loki Familiar's fight against the demi-spirit. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on the dungeon. And that'll be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.